Good morning, class 12 students. So this is your subject physics, chapter number 14, that is electronic devices. And in this lecture, I'll be discussing the assignment solutions of this chapter. So let us begin with the first question. Okay, so in the first question, it is given at 300 Kelvin, pure silicon has equal hole and electron concentration of this much. When it is doped with indium, it is given that hole concentration becomes this much. So you have to tell the concentration of electron. Okay, so now as you know, for a pure semiconductor, you have this equation, that is Ni square is equals to Ne NH, right? So now according to this question, this concentration will be equal to Ni because this is the equal concentration of electron and hole. So you have Ni, you have NH, so you can easily calculate Ne from here. It will come to be 5 into 10 to the power 9 meter per cube. Okay, so question number second says why N-type and P-type are electrically neutral. So I hope all of you must be able to give this answer. So because in N-type you have donor atoms, when they donate electron, for one donated electron they have one positive charge, so overall it will become neutral. Similarly in P-type you have acceptors. When they accept electron, they acquire negative charge with the positive charge on hole. So again it becomes electrically neutral. In question number third, it is given whether the Ohm's law is followed for semiconductors or not. So here for this you can give a simple answer also, because see, you have studied PN junction, you have studied its reverse characteristics and your forward characteristics. In those you have seen the VI graph was not linear. So directly you can say that Ohm's law is not followed in semiconductors, or you can say it is followed for low electric field only, because as you have studied above electric field, the current will become independent of applied field or voltage, because by applying voltage you are getting applied field only. So therefore you can say because current is becoming independent of voltage after a particular value of electric field, that means Ohm's law is not followed in semiconductors. Okay, in question number 4, you are given Ne and you are given mu, that is mobility, and you have to calculate conductivity. So simply you can use the formula for conductivity, that is Ne mu E. You are given Ne, you are given E, you are given mu E. Put all the values, the answer will come to be 60 mho per centimeters. Okay, in question number 5, it is given which one of the semiconductors have high mobility. Again, as I already told you, out of electrons and holes, electrons have higher mobility because actually that which particle is moving is electron. Only the movement, due to the movement of electron, holes are changing its place. So because electrons have high mobility as compared to holes, and N-type semiconductors have a majority of electrons. So therefore we can say N-type will have higher mobility because they have electrons as majority charge carriers and holes as minority charge carriers. Okay. Question number 6 is simple. You are given a band gap of 1.14 electron volt and you have to calculate the wavelength for that. So first of all, what you do, convert this energy which is into electron volt to joules. After converting it, you can just use the formula E is equals to hc by lambda. You know H, you know C, you know E, so simply calculate lambda. That will come to be around 11,000 angstroms. Okay. Okay, so in question number 7, you have to tell the effect of temperature on the resistivity of semiconductors. So see what happens when you increase the temperature, the thermal vibrations of the atom start, due to which an electron is able to jump from valence band to conduction band. So I have written that here. As temperature increases, electron will jump from or go from valence band to conduction band. Now as you know, because electrons are free to move in conduction band, that is, more electrons in conduction band, more will be the conductivity. So this means due to the increase in temperature, conductivity of the semiconductors are increasing, and conductivity and resistivity are inversely proportional to each other. So if with the increase in temperature, conductivity is increasing, then your resistivity will decrease. So you can say with the increase in temperature, resistivity of the semiconductors decreases. Okay, so in question number 8, it is asked why in forward biasing the resistance of PN junction is low. So this I have told you in theory lectures also. From Ohm's law, you know V is equals to IR, or you can say R is equal to V by I. So therefore what happens in forward biasing, when you increase the forward voltage slightly, there is a very large increase in forward current. Due to which, from this you can conclude if V is small, I is very large and R is inversely proportional to I. So if forward current is very large, that means resistance of PN junction will be low when it is forward biased, and if it is reverse biased, then the PN junction will be having a high resistance. Okay, so the ninth question asks why silicon and gallium arsenide are the devices which are preferred for making or which are preferred in solar cells. So the main reason why silicon and gallium arsenide are preferred because of their high absorption coefficient. That is because, as you know, in solar cells the solar energy is converted into electrical energy, and obviously you will be able to convert more solar energy to electrical energy if the device is absorbing a large solar energy. So therefore, because these devices have a large, or you can say high absorption coefficient, therefore they are the preferred materials for making solar cells. And moreover, either it is not asked in question, but I am telling you, gallium arsenide is preferred over silicon. Okay, so what happens? The band gap of silicon is 1.1 electron volt, and for gallium arsenide the band gap is 1.53 electron volt. Now you will say, instead of having high band gap, gallium arsenide is preferred over silicon. So that is because gallium arsenide absorbs much more energy as compared to silicon. So therefore in solar cells gallium arsenide is preferred over silicon. Okay, so in 10th question it is asked, if reverse bias voltage is decreased, what will happen to the width of depletion region? So as you have studied in your theory lectures, reverse biasing supports the width of depletion region. That is, when your PN junction is reverse biased, the width of depletion region increases, right? So that I have written here, in reverse biasing, width of depletion region increases. But here, because the question is decreasing reverse bias voltage, therefore the width of depletion region will also decrease. Okay. Okay, so question number 11 is a very good question. In that you are given that on a half wave, in a half wave rectifier, a sine wave is put which is having an amplitude of 2 volts, and in that half wave rectifier a diode is used which has a threshold frequency of 0.7. So you have to draw the output of that wave. So now what we will do that, see, first of all let us draw the input. So as you are given a sine wave with a maximum amplitude of 2 volt. Now 0.7 is the threshold frequency, threshold voltage of diode. So suppose here will be some 0.7 and draw a dotted line. This will be your threshold voltage of the diode. Now as you know, this diode will not work until the voltage will reach its threshold voltage. So that means up to 0.7 you will not get any output, and because it is a half wave rectifier, that means in your negative half cycle also there will be no output. So by using these 2 points we will be drawing the diagram. Now for the output, what you do, see, 0.7 line is cutting at 1, 2, 3 and 4 places this input wave. So what you do, just draw dotted lines at these 4 points where your 0.7 dotted line is cutting your input wave. After drawing these 4 points, now see, this point is below 0.7, and as I told you, below 0.7 the diode will not be working, so there will be no output in this region. After that, the positive cycle is there up till here, and it is above 0.7 also. So that means up to this point you will get a output like this. Why this is 1.3 volt, I'll tell you that later. I just understand this first, right? Now again below this, and for this region, see, for this region it is upper half or you can say positive half cycle, but below 0.7. Therefore diode will not work. And this is negative half cycle, and as in half wave rectifier, the diode does not work in this situation. And again for this part, your voltage is below 0.7. So from this point to this point, you will not be having any output. So you will not be having any output. Again, at this point, it has become above 0.7 up to this point. So you will have an output. After that, no output. So this is how you have to draw the output. So you can say up to 0.7, diode will not work and it will remain in reverse biased condition. Diode will not work and it will remain in reverse bias condition for negative half cycle. Okay, and after that, okay, so now this point is also left. What will be the maximum voltage now? See, because it is not working up to 0.7 and maximum is given 2. So for your output, what will become maximum? 2 minus 0.7, that is 1.3. So when it will be working in positive half cycle, the maximum will be only 1.3 volts. Okay, so I am repeating it once again. First point, below 0.7 the diode will not work. Second point, above 0.7 volt, and for positive half cycle the diode will work, and for negative half cycle the diode will again not work. Okay, so on the basis of these three factors we have drawn this output. In question number 12, now it is given that a simple change made, that is, now the threshold voltage of the diode is minus 0.7 volt. That is, see, the sine wave is same, only your threshold frequency, threshold voltage is here. That is, now draw a dotted line here. That will be minus 0.7. Now again, this is striking at 1, 2, 3 and 4 places. So just draw dotted lines at these 4 places like this. Okay, now what will happen? See, what is the meaning of this? That it is reversed. So इसका मतलब सिर्फ ये है, देखो, the thing that we studied in our theory lectures is that in positive half cycle half wave rectifier was working, and in negative half cycle the diode was not working. But here, because threshold voltage of diode is taken to be negative, so the case will reverse. That is, now it will work in negative half cycle and the diode will not work in positive half cycle. So now, as you can see, from here to here it is positive half cycle. That means it will not work. You will not get any output. And for this region, it is obviously, you can say, below threshold voltage, or because it is negative, so you can say it is above that. So therefore it will not work. So it will be working only in this region. Therefore we have got a output. Similarly, from this region to this region, it is forward biased and it is you can say more than 0.7. So again it will not work. It will only work in this situation, that is this one. So this is how we have to draw output. So you can simply say, in negative half cycle your diode is forward biased, and in negative half cycle your diode is reverse biased in this situation. And similarly, okay, so minus 0.7 and 2 volt. So now what will be the maximum value? Because it is working in half wave cycle, negative half cycle, therefore our maximum value will also be negative. So that will be minus 0.7 plus 2, that will give you minus 1.3 volts. So the only change in 11th and 12th question is that your sign of maximum voltage has changed, and therefore its axis has also changed. In previous question it was here, now it is downwards. Okay. In question number 30, you are given that at 30 degrees Celsius the energy is of 0.7 electron volt, or your voltage. Then you have to tell the your VB, that is potential barrier, at 130 degrees Celsius. So always remember, for a semiconductor your potential barrier is directly proportional to temperature. So if it is directly proportional to temperature, so you can write V1 upon V2, that is V1 is your 0.7 upon V2, that will be equal to T1, that is 30 plus 273 upon T2, that will be 130 plus 273. Okay, so solve it. V2 will come to be 0.93 electron volts.